Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Stadhalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Narayanam Gurum Vande Saranyam Bhakta Bandhavam Gauramanubhishtam Purnam Radha Dasyam Pradayakam Rupanugacharya Varyam Urupamanjari Preshtakam Patita Pavana Karunayam Yugacharya Narayanam Vanchakalupattaru Vyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gaura Tvise Namaha Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekara Ismera Hasara Murali Manohara Radhikara Sikamam Kripanide Swapriya Charana Kinkarim Kuru Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vrindai Tulasi Devyai Priyai Keshava Sacha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Sattavatyai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Param Maradattama Shri Guru Pada Padma nitya-lila pravista Om Vishnu Pada Paramhamsa Parivrajaka Charya Stotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudeva. And to my most worshipable Shiksha and Sannyasa Guru nitya-lila pravista Om Vishnu Pada Paramhamsa Parivrajaka Charya Stotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Pragyana Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to all Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandi Sannyasis, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and to all the assembled devotees here today, my most respectful obeisances. So by the causeless mercy of Srila Gurudeva and all Mahabhagavatas Acharyas, we are able to assemble here one more time. So today we are going to read an article from Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Goswami Maharaj, which was published in the Rays of the Harmonist, year 4, 10 February 2012. The title is Shri Gita Upanishad Atmanivedan. The highest process of love is hidden within the Bhagavad-gītā. Means Atmanivedan means complete surrender. And Gita Upanishad refers to Bhagavad-gītā. Okay? So how can we find in Bhagavad-gītā the message of complete surrender, but considering that in a context of the highest process of love? So the first part is the nectarian milk of Sri Bhagavad-gītā. The most dignified seers of ancient India, means Arya Rishis, have glorified Srimad Bhagavad-gītā as the crest jewel of all the philosophical treatises of Vedic India, known as the Upanishads. In contrast to other Upanishads, Sri Gita specifically establishes that the Bhagavan is inherently imbued with unlimited transcendental pastimes. Also in the Gita Mahatmya, which beautifully extols the Gita has been described as the essence of all Upanishads. Sarvopanishad Gavu Dugda Gopala Nandana Parto Vatsas Sudhir Bhokta Dugdam Gitam Mritam Mahat. Is a verse from Gita Mahatmya, number 6. The Upanishads are like a cow, and this Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad-gītā, which is the essence of all the Upanishads, is just like nectarine milk from that cow. Lord Krishna, who is renowned as a cowherd boy, is milking the cow, and Arjuna is just like a calf. Learned scholars and pure devotees drink the nectarine milk of Bhagavad-gītā. So this is the most classic image that is being given, comparing the Gita like this, the Upanishads like the cow, the Gita like the milk, Krishna is the milkman, and Arjuna is the calf. Only by the presence of the calf, the cow will give milk, right? So Arjuna is there to stimulate in this way Krishna to bring out all the nectar from the teachings of the Upanishads, in essence, as the Bhagavad-gītā. Gita, which is a part of Mahabharata, is spoken by Sri Vasudeva or Krishna, the son of Queen Devaki. However, in the above verse, it is said, Dugdha Gopala Nandana. He who milks the cow of the Upanishads is Brajendra Nandana Shri Krishna, the son of Shri Nanda Maharaj, the king of the cowherds of Braj. It is thus clearly understood that the sole speaker of Sri Gita is in fact Brajendra Nandana Shri Krishna, who is constantly playing in his eternal abode known as Sri Vrindavan. Although he has spoken the Gita in his form of Vasudeva, his own statements have revealed his real form as embodiment of the highest expression of transcendental humor, Rasamoy Swarup. So what we see here is the first revelation, first beautiful revelation, because Gita was spoken during the Battle of Kurukshetra, means prior to the Battle of Kurukshetra, but in that field of Kurukshetra. So, and that Krishna, we know this is Dwarkadish Krishna. And Dwarkadish is Vasudeva Krishna, right? Son of Vasudeva and Devaki from Mathura. He is in that mood when he's in Dwarka, right? But now seems that it's not like so. It's not so obvious like that, because the verse is saying that the milkman of that Gita is actually a Gopala. He's from Vrindavan. He's a cowherd boy. And that is Nandanandana Shri Krishna, not Vasudeva Nanda. So if this is Nandanandana Shri Krishna speaking, not more Dwarkadish, then the whole thing now can be changed. The whole understanding of Gita can be changed, as well as the whole level of information given by Krishna can also be changed. So now we have to see things more deeply, not as before, as we expected to be, or to have only some limits of meanings of the verses of Gita. Now seems that the verses are going to be much deeper, because the personality which is speaking it is using a hidden language. It's a hidden language. So that mood is a mood of Brajendra Nandana Sham Sundar. Same thing as Jagannath. We know that also Jagannath is not Dwarkadish, right? He's Brajendra Nandana Sham Sundar only. So that changed the whole thing. The whole understanding, the whole lila. So in this way, we are going to see actually what is behind Krishna's words in the battle of Kurukshetra. Of course, in this article, Param Gurudeva is not going to reveal each and everything, each and every mood. The article is short, but in essence, he's going to at least prepare us to begin to see things from a different perspective. Okay, so don't expect that many things will be revealed. It's not the aim of the article. The first aim of the article is just to change your perspective and help you to see things from a different perspective. But you can start from this analyzing and getting many more informations than what is actually being shown in the article itself. Okay? So continue there. Our Goswamis have indicated in their literatures that another name of Mother Yashoda is Devaki. And Devaki Putra, the son of Devaki, is therefore another name of Yashoda Putra, the son of Yashoda. Although Vasudeva, the son of Devaki, is apparently the speaker of Sri Gita, Sri Nanda Nandana Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj, and Yashoda Devi is the actual speaker. Perhaps you have heard or not, I don't know, but there is this big confusion that the name Devaki also means Yashoda. Yashoda has many names. One of them is Devaki. There is that famous verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, Jayati Jananivaso Devaki Janamavado. Devaki Janamavado means that there is a theory, a speculation that Krishna has taken birth from the womb of Devaki. So, and we can see this verse from one side, but from other side is that it is actually a fact that Krishna has born from the womb of Jashoda, because Devaki means Jashoda. It's like that. By discussing the beginning of Sri Gita, its conclusion, and all of its parts, it can be understood that Sri Krishna alone is a supreme absolute truth, and the topmost worshipful reality. He is worshipped only by Bhakti, and Prema Bhakti is the pinnacle of that worship. Now, full surrender is of two kinds. Now, Param is going to analyze what is the meaning of surrender. First, he established, okay, now is Brajendranath Shyamasundara who is speaking Bhagavad-gītā. That's the whole, shifting, of perspective. Now he's going to analyze what is self-surrender. Now we will discuss the nature and development of complete self-surrender or Atmanivedan as explained in Sri Gita. From an external point of view, the instructions of Gita are universal. Therein, in a condensed form, all topics related to bhakti have been expressed, from offering the results of one's activities, karmarpana, up to surrender, sharanagati, all the way to full surrender of one's very self, Atmaniveda. What he's saying here, in other words, is about the conversation between Mahaprabhu and Raya Ramananda, right? So when Mahaprabhu is asking about the ultimate goal of life, Sadhya Sarvasar, Raya Ramananda, he begins speaking from the basic level, following Varnashram Dharma. Then after he will be speaking Krishna Karmarpana, means offering the fruits of your activities to Krishna. And then he goes, higher and higher, higher and higher. So same thing here, Param Gurudeva is putting that different level of surrender. One is Karmarpana, another one is Sharanagati, and then the full surrender means Atmaniveda. There are two kinds of Atmanivedan, ordinary or common, and extraordinary or uncommon. Sri Bhakti Sandarbha, Sri Jiva Goswami Pada has delineated these two types of Atmanivedan. Ordinary Atmanivedan is bhavam vina, devoid of any sthayi bhava or permanent transcendental humor. And the extraordinary Atmanivedan is bhava vashishtena cha, endowed with specific bhava or permanent mellow. Taditatmanivedanam bhavam vina bhava vashishtena cha drishyate. Bhakti Sandarbha 309, Anuched. So now we have the two definitions. And what is the main difference between them? One has in one of them, the sadhaka already have realized what is his sthayi bhava. Sthayi bhava means what? His permanent rasa. It means shanta dasa sakya vatsalya or madhurya. He has already realized that. So he's serving already from that platform. knowing what is his eternal relationship with Krishna. This is called Sthai Bhav. Sthai means permanent. Bhava means that mood, which can be one of the 5 rasas. Okay? And the other one is devoid of that realization yet. Okay? Simple till now. So to illustrate the first type of Atma Nivedan, which, as just described, lacks permanent bhava, Jiva Goswami Pada has quoted the following verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11:29-34. Martyo yada takta samasta karma niveditatma suchikashito me tadamrit tattvam pradipadyam no mayatma bhuyaya cha kalpate vai. A mortal being who gives up all fruitive activities and offers himself entirely unto me, eagerly desiring to receive a special favor from me, achieves immortality in the form of liberation from birth and death, and becomes extremely dear to me. So he's saying the one who has give up the fruitive activities, and now he's offering himself and of course all the different fruits of his activities to Krishna. Then he will receive what? Liberation. So that is mukti. Just you can pay attention to that point. The fruit of that is mukti. Liberation from birth and death. Okay? Now to illustrate the second type, which is endowed with a specific bhava. Srila Jiva Goswami Pada has referred to a verse spoken by Shri Rukmini Devi. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:52-39. Rukmini says, Tanme bhavan kalu vritapatiranga jayam atmarpitascha bhavato travibo videhi mavira bhagam abhimarshatu chaidya arad gomayuvam mrigapatir balim ambu jaksha. She's saying, therefore, my dear Lord, I have chosen you as my husband, and I surrender myself to you. Please come swiftly, O mighty one, and make me your wife. My dear lotus-eyed Lord, let Shishupal, who is like a jackal, stealing the property of a lion, never touch the hero's portion. That was a message, right, that Rukmini sent to Krishna in order to call him to kidnap her and save her, before her marriage. So here the word bhava means relationship, sambandha, in spontaneous devotion or raganuga bhakti, in the humors of servitude, friendship, and so on. I already explained that before. According to Bhakti Sandarbha verse 309, bhava vashishtena refers to 4 bhavas: servitude, friendship, parenthood, and transcendental amour. Means dasya, sakya, vatsalya, and madhurya bhav. Why Shanta is not there? Because this is related to raganuga bhakti. Then Shanta not possible. Full self-surrendered at the lotus feet of Bhagavan, that is endowed with any one of these 4 specific relationships, is called Bhava Yukta Atma Nivedan. Bhava Yukta means endowed with Bhava Atma Nivedan. And the full self-surrender that is performed at the lotus feet of Bhagavan before the awakening of any of these 4 relationships is called Bhavahina Atma Nivedan. Bhavahin means without bhav, devoid of bhava. Bhavahina Atma Nivedan is visible in the life of Sri Bali Maharaj. And Srila Jiva Goswami Pad has shown this elsewhere in his Sandarbha. Sri Bali Maharaj's service is devoid of any permanent transcendental humor or fixed relationship. Furthermore, it cannot be considered a relationship of service in spontaneous devotion. The most confidential and topmost instruction of Gita, 1866, is Sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarvapapevyo mokshaishami mashuchaha. Completely abandoning all bodily and mental dharma, such as varna and ashram, fully surrender to me alone. I shall liberate you from all reactions to your sins, so do not grieve. You can see again the similarity of this verse with that first verse from Bhagavatam. What is the fruit that Krishna is giving here? This is mukti. Moksha ishami mashuchaha. Moksha. I shall free you from all your sinful reactions and etc. So again, you should pay attention to this. Okay, this main fruit here is mukti. The next verse, which he is saying, is Marto yada takta samasta karma nivedetatma vikitsume tadamritatvam pratipadyamno mayatma bhuyaya chakalpateve. We have read that shloka previously, right? So that's the same, that paragraph again, he's emphasizing the relation and connection with the fruits of mukti given by Krishna. So this verse has been quoted by Srila Jiva Goswami Pad as an example of the first type of Atmanivedan, which is devoid of any permanent bhava. And the shloka quoted just before this verse, beginning with Sarvadharmam parityaja, which is the topmost instruction of Gita, conveys the same meaning. Moreover, the words aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshaishami mashuchaha, I shall liberate you from all reactions to your sins, so do not grieve, is only the special explanation of the words vichikrishito me, desirous of receiving any special favor from me, found in the Bhagavatam verse just quoted. Hence, the Gita verse beginning Sarvadharmam parityaja is clearly instructing the common masses to perform full surrender at the lotus feet of Bhagavan that is devoid of any relationship with him. So this type of Sarvadharmam parityaja, this type of surrender that Krishna is implying here, is that surrender without this bhava. Why? This is the first type of surrender. This is the first type of surrender. Okay? This is just the beginning. This is Sharanagati, right? This is not fully Atmanivedan, Bhava Vaishishtana, or Bhava Yukta. Now, next one. The Gita indicates superlative self-surrender. Now we must determine whether or not Bhava Yukta Atmanivedan, full self-surrender at the lotus feet of Bhagavan, that is endowed with one of the four previously mentioned eternal relationships, is hinted at or indicated in Gita. Okay, Param Gurudeva has provided evidence for the first one, and that is the verse Sarvadharmam parityaja. But what about the other one? So an intelligent lover who is adored by many will speak to a gathering in a general way about affectionately serving him. Now, this is a very, very most important point now. Saying that if a very intelligent lover is speaking in public, he has to speak in such a way that not many will understand his heart, but those who need to understand, they will. He must be the most expert speaker in order to, with the same word, with the same sentences, convey his message to the different type of audience. And he's a lover. Now it must also keep that in mind. But when his beloved is also present, in the midst of general topics, he will hint to her in a hidden way about how to please him in a special way. The ordinary people in this scenario would be unable to understand such hints, but those who are extraordinarily dear to him would certainly be able to comprehend them. Similarly, the crass jewel of intelligent lovers, who is he? Gopala Nandana Shri Krishna, even in the midst of instructing ordinary people, has given hints about extraordinary service or extraordinary Atma Nivedan, endowed with a permanent, specific, transcendental relationship for those who have such extraordinary desires to serve. So in Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna is giving all types of instructions from A to Z. So, and with the same words, he's able to convey different message to different levels of listeners according to their spiritual realization. In the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Rukmini Devi prays to Shri Krishna in her letter, Tanme bhavam kalu vrita patir angajayam. I accept you as my husband and fully dedicate myself at your lotus feet. Here, full self-surrender is performed by embracing the humor of divine amor, kanta bhava, in the core of her heart. So Param Gurudeva he's a little bit more conservative. So he's quoting Rukmini, but it could be Srimati Radhika. We could use many other evidence and use Srimati Radhika as well. But he's using Rukmini Devi. It's okay. So Rukmini has Sthai Bhava. Rukmini has a fixed mood. And that is what? Conjugal love. Kanta Bhava. Amorous love towards Krishna. So self-surrender endowed with a specific relationship is clearly expressed in Bhagavad-gītā. In these verses 10.9 and 10, and also the 1144. 10.9 and 10.10, they are parts of the Chatushloki Gita. We have also already analyzed them in one of our lectures, right? When we found about the Parakiya Bhav in Bhagavad-gītā. So 10.9 is Machitta Madgata Prana Bodhayantat Parashparam Katayantas Chamam Nityam Tushanti Chara Manticha. Then 10.10 Tishang Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Tadami Buddhi Jogam Tam Yenamam Upayantite. The meaning of these two verses is as follows. Those whose minds and lives are devoted to me and who always meditate on me, always speak about me and derive satisfaction in me alone. Their minds feel relaxation and comfort only by thinking about me, and they are constantly desirous of perpetual union with me. I bestow upon such devotees transcendental intelligence and knowledge by which they can attain me. Most of Gita commentators, including Srila Sridhara Swamipad, have provided purport for these two shlokas that pertain to common people only. However, Shri Krishna, the crass jewel of all genius lovers, cannot stop himself from uttering the deepest instructions, even in the midst of speaking general instruction. So that most profound instruction is that we should render intimate, loving service, Vishramba Seva, to him. The general meaning of the component Ramanticha provided by these commentators is found within their purports to the words Tushanticha in Gita 10.9. As a result, there remains no specific significance to the phrase Ramanticha. However, unless there is a specific meaning to these words, there would have been no reason for Krishna to use them. What he's saying, that many cannot figure out why Krishna is using this word, and they usually do not attribute any type of special meaning to this. So Srila Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur have therefore discarded the general meaning of Ramanticha and have only accepted its specific meaning, ascertained by examining its verbal root, which carries innate meaning. The verbal root Ram means sport or play, krida. The use of the verbal root Ram not only indicates self-surrender endowed with a specific relationship, Bhava Yukta Atmanivedan, but in fact the topmost among all bhavas, Madhurya Bhava Yukta Atmanivedan. Srila Baladeva Vidyabhusan Prabhu has said in his commentary, Ramanticha Juvati Smita Katakshadishu Eva Juvana. These words refer solely to self-surrender characterized by accepting Bhagavan as the object of affection in the transcendental humor of amorous love. That humor of divine amor, Kanta Bhava, possesses the attributes of smiles, sidelong glances, and so on. So here directly they are saying Krishna is intending only to mean about Madhurya Bhav, means Gopi Bhav only. So Srila Jiva Goswami Pada quotes a part of Shri Rukmini Devi's letter as an example of Bhava Yukta Atmanivedan. Her letter expresses the same profound meaning as what is hidden within the words Ramanticha in the Gita Shloka. So one thing important to note, why Jiva Goswami Pada is choosing to speak about Rukmini. Because Jiva Goswami has preached about the Swakya Bhav, means the mood of marital relationship. He has not supported Parakya Bhav in his writings. This is a very common thing, in Vaishnava, literature and also canons, and even there is a big debate about that Jiva Goswami Pada has not preached Parakya Ras as Rupa Goswami did. Why? Not because he was against it, but because he was speaking to a specific public with some, time, place, and circumstance. So all the purports, if you read from Jiva Goswami Pada, even from Srimad Bhagavatam, he will always, be given that emphasis on Swakya. Therefore, for him, it's not possible to quote Radharani because the relation with Hare Krishna is not a marital relation, is like beloved one, extra-conjugal. So therefore, he's choosing to speak about Rukmini because she's a former wife of Krishna. There is no any break of the social status, the social dharma. That was Jiva Goswami's main line of preaching. Why? Because Parakya is so high that many people misunderstand it. So he wanted to prevent these misunderstandings. Therefore, he promoted Swakya, and he condemned any relation in between Bhagavan and his consorts in Parakya Bhav. So therefore, he's quoting Rukmini only. But anyway, if he's establishing that conjugal relationship here, it can be for any consort of Krishna. We can extend that automatically to Srimati Radhika and the Brajagopis. Okay, there is no issue on that. Also, because Srila Bhakti Rakshadhar Goswami Maharaj, he will also give that interpretation as we studied before, right? So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a similar meaning for Ramanticha. He explains that Bhagavan expresses Raganuga Bhakti in these words. The only satisfaction and delight of the single-pointed devotees in the performance of Bhakti. This is the secret. Even in the stage of sadhana, they attain satisfaction by their uninhibited performance of bhajan. while meditating on their future stage of perfection, they experienced great delight. In other words, they enjoy with their Lord and Master Shri Krishna within their minds. Next one is, I bestow transcendental knowledge by which they attain me. So Arjuna says in Gita 11:44, Tasmad pranamya pranidhaya kayam prasadayetum aham visham vidyam piteva putrasya sakheva sakyu priya priyayahrasi deva sodum. I therefore prostrate my body at your lotus feet in obeisance. O adorable Supreme Lord, I entreat you to be gracious to me. O Lord, just as a father forgives his son, a friend tolerates a friend, or a lover excuses his beloved, you should forgive my offenses. Here, the subject of full self-surrender, endowed with one of the four humors of servitude, friendship, parenthood, or transcendental amour, has been clearly expressed. So when Arjuna is saying, as a master, as a father, as a friend, as a lover, he's actually indicating these four rasas, which were previously mentioned by Param Gurudeva as being one of the four allowed in the relation of Raganuga Bhakti. So in Gita 10.10, quoted formerly, Krishna says, Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To those who worship me with love and yearn for my eternal association, I bestow that transcendental knowledge by which they attain me. The prominent Mahajanas, Sri Baladeva Vidhabhusan Prabhu and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad, express that Buddhi Yoga, or communion through transcendental knowledge, is suggestive only of sadhana endowed with relationship bhava yukta sadhana, or fully self-surrendered. Srila Baladeva Vidhabhusan Prabhu explains or elucidates Krishna's statements in his commentary. He says, I am the enjoyer of the ras derived from the happiness of my own bhakti, and I bestow upon my devotees that transcendental knowledge by which they attain me. I inspire their intelligence so that they can understand me with all my unlimited qualities and majesties. Thus, by their worship, they can attain me. There is a very interesting purport about this, Dadami Buddhi. I give them intelligence. If the gopis, they already have this, they have already achieved perfection, right? So what type of intelligence they need to come to Krishna? They have already come to Krishna. So why Krishna again saying that he gives intelligence so they can come to me? What is that buddhi, that understanding? They are already perfected. So you can apply this verse for those who have not yet achieved perfection. So Krishna is saying, I give them intelligence, how they can come to me. Come to me means how they can achieve perfection in their service. I will guide them, I will inspire them. But what about those who are already perfected? Because the verse says about Raganuga Bhakti. Those who are in Raganuga Bhakti stage, like Rukmini and others, and Gopis, Sakas, they don't need perfection. They are already perfected. So then how can we apply this verse to them? It's very interesting. It's, for example, how in the morning, when Krishna is taking prasadam in Nanda Bhavan, the gopis, they are behind the door of the kitchen, watching Krishna taking prasad. And by glances, they will exchange glances. And then by that, Krishna will indicate where he will meet the gopis later on. Also, when they make those mandalas, those drawings by colorful powder on the entrance of the house, at the entrance of the house, there will be also like drawing a map. So when Krishna is moving out, he's going to look at that and he's going to understand, oh, the meeting is there at such time in such place. So by some means, Krishna will give them understanding. So they know where to meet and when to meet. So this is the top understanding of this verse. He will send a message, he will play his flute. He will use Dhanishta also to sometimes deliver them some message like that. So in this way, this is Dadhami Bhuti Yogamtam. Yoga, meeting, union, how they can unite in the forest. Krishna will give them all this understanding. I will be there in such and such time, such and such a place. I will be there performing this Surya Puja. I will be there as a Brahman priest. So you must come there. And then we're going to meet like that. So then the last purport from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says, in the voice of Krishna, okay? These both purports, they take the voice of Krishna and they speak as if they were Krishna. Okay, it's very common. The acharyas, they do like that. Because they have full realization, they can like create dialogues. They can create interactions between Krishna and gopis, Krishna and any other associate. So now he says, Krishna says, I bestow upon them transcendental knowledge or Buddhi Yoga. I inspire them according to their heart's tendencies. That transcendental knowledge cannot be achieved by individual efforts, nor can it be obtained from anyone else. It is bestowed by me alone. And only such sadhakas who are aware of their specific relationship with me can receive it. This is the meaning of Krishna's words. So this is the end of Param Gurudev's very short article. In a very nutshell, Param Gurudev, he gave a lot to, develop, on top of this. So the main thing that Param Gurudev is saying here is that Arjun, as the devotee, he has expressed in this verse 1144. Okay, there are these 4 types of relationships in the platform of Raganuga Bhakti. By performing them, means they represent the Atmanivedan, which is called Bhava Yukta, or endowed with Bhava. And this is the topmost instruction that Krishna is giving. Krishna is not only interested in your Sharanagati, in your surrender, in the sense of you are just, trying to offer the fruits of your karmas and etc. etc. Why is that? Because that can only give mukti. But Krishna does not want to bestow mukti to his devotees, to his dear devotees. He wants to bestow what? Prema bhakti. So in this way, to receive that prema bhakti, you must be what? Aware of your eternal relationship with Krishna. That is the second level of Atmanivedan, Bhava Yukta. So in this way, very beautifully, Param Gurudev has delineated the way that we should, from now on, see and understand Bhagavad-gītā. And there are many, many more things. There are many more things. By studying the purports of our acharyas, in Gurudev's Gita, for example, especially Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Many, many things are there. Many things are there. Gita is actually Bhavamai. It's full of bhava, full of bhav. If you have eyes to see, if you have realization to understand, Krishna is revealing so many intimate things to Arjuna. And plus, another important thing to know is that the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna is not all in the Bhagavad-gītā. There are more things. There are more things which were quoted in the Adi Purana book. Adi Purana is one Shastra. There only there is the other part of the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, in which Krishna is saying to Arjuna, look, the gopis are my most beloved. Krishna is explaining to Arjuna so many, like revealing his heart completely to Arjuna. And he's speaking full of like separation from the gopis. He's establishing many, what to say, beautiful siddhanta there. And that you can, what to say, find in the 4th chapter of Adi-lila Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm not sure if I have discussed with you or if it was with the Russian devotees. I'm not sure, because I gave also this lecture before to Russian devotees. But there are many considerations there also in the Adi-lila 4th chapter. You must read that. There is like Krishna declaring love to Srimati Radhika. It's one of the most beautiful descriptions, I mean, ever, you know. So Kaviraj Goswami, he has summarized, is quoting from many different shastras and showing how Krishna is glorifying Srimati Radhika, what is the nature of their love. And even I made like a compilation of these shlokas, and I prepare another type of sequence. I took like the main ones, then I joined them together, but I made that in Portuguese only. But you definitely find so much nectar there. And the quotes from Adi Purana are also there, in between all these things. So in this way, we can drink this very beautiful nectar in so many varieties of ways, because that is not Dwarkadish Krishna speaking. This is direct Brajendra Nandana speaking. And especially in separation. Always remember when he's in Dwarka or Kurukshetra, he's in the mood of separation. So I remember when I was like beginning of like studying and reading, you know, Gita and other things, even after initiated a little bit longer, I would never like to read much Gita and discuss all those topics, you know, because I thought it's too much dry. There is not much rasa here. There is not much, you know, juice. It's only about these, you know, yogas and all these things and the Mahabhutas, and I don't like all these things. I never liked Mahabharata, for example. I never read Mahabharata. I don't like all these, you know, mundane type of, you know, stories and things like that. Then I read Bhagavad-gītā once at that time, and then I never wanted to read more. I am more interested in Bhagavatam and other things. So, but then when I really got to read Gurudeva's Bhagavad-gītā, with the purports of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and others, and then also hearing Gurudeva's lectures, and also that book, Essence of Bhagavad-gītā, you know, that small book of Srila Gurudeva. Then I realized, oh, there is much more here. This is not just an instruction for yogis, no? There is much more here. And then by and by, you realize that it's very, very juicy, very tasty, this Bhagavad-gītā. And what's the result of that? The result of that is that Arjun and other Pandavas, where they end up? Where did they end up? At the bank of Shamkunda Radhakunda. As a tree is doing bhajan. That's the result. If Krishna would be speaking only like Mukti Katha or any other type of Yoga Katha like that, it would never inspire them. But Krishna gave so much. Krishna inspired them to Gopi Bhava. So that is what Param Gurudeva spoke in the beginning of this shloka, of this article. If an expert speaker, and perhaps he happened to be like a lover, he has to speak in front of the public, give it like a discourse in any type of ceremony. And at the same time, he has to inspire his beloved, and he has to inspire the public and many things. He will speak in such a way, in a hidden way, that only those who have that relationship, they will catch and they will take the message. So it's amazing actually what Krishna did. Like just before the war, in some place which is not at all like favorable for speaking about rasa. There is no stimulus there. There is nothing. There is no Vrindavan elements, figures, environment. There is nothing. Army one side, army other side. But still somehow he's giving that. So it is very, very beautiful. Okay, we are going to stop here then. And then Hare Krishna.